Well, the ad council of being kind of a national, kind of unbiased, neutral thing, there are a lot of things that you can talk about that are affecting the United States of America. Every brand doesn't have quite that much of a wide aperture of things that they can talk about. So I would love to get your thoughts on how brands can determine topics they're quote unquote allowed to talk about. Because it's one thing to take a stand, it's another to take a stand every other week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how do you go about finding that authentic connection to your brand that's going to make sense to consumers?
I think first of all, we don't believe that brands need permission to dive into social impact,
Mm,
right? The platform and the influence of the brand, I think as long as you pick issues that are aligned with the values,
mm-hmm.
I think that's a good place to start. The other piece of advice really is around making sure you do your research
Mm-hmm.
and go into it intentionally and making sure that you're listening to your intended audience, whether that's a customer base or whether that's doing research on other brands that are kind of in your sphere that may be doing work. You gotta make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other piece is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It feels you don't
Thank
have to
you.
be the first.
Yes.
You don't have to be super loud. There's something really beautiful about a brand just coming in and maybe amplifying voices of those who are already doing the work. Or just coming in and supporting organizations that are leading in the work. We love it at the Ad Council when our partners join us.
Mm-hmm.
And there is safety in numbers,
Yep.
and we consider ourselves conveners. We like to build big tents, bring our partners in, different industries coming together, and when there are more of us together, 1 plus 1 doesn't equals 2, 1 plus 1 equals 5.
Yeah. 100%.
So, and it also safety in numbers is a real thing,
Yeah.
and so coalition building and amplification, sharing resources, using messages that's been tested. We do everything we do is research. So using some of our messaging, I think that's a good place to start, to know that you don't have to be the leader of the pack
Love that.
right at the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I think taking the example of Agree to Agree, we are partnering with healthcare. So that is an industry that really does have permission to talk
Yes.
about gun violence,
Yes.
right? Because they are at the core of the crisis. They see it every day, first responders, really. And so healthcare is saying, we're in. We are joining forces with the Ad Council. We're going to talk about this issue in a non political, really about changing behaviors and attitudes. So it's safe. And if you're joining the doctors and nurses, and you're
Mm-hmm.
joining the Ad Council. So that's one way for us to build the big tent on this particular issue. And I feel like if we can do it on an issue like gun violence and be able to find the common ground, I really think that you can find common ground on other issues and really stay in a place that isn't divisive
Mm-hmm.
and also bring other folks along so that you're not the only one.